From Abuja to Lagos, Sokoto to Port Harcourt, Enugu to Ilorin, all across Nigeria, we bring you news and information that will make your day. We are news. We are 24 News Radio TV.
Good morning, this beautiful morning, and welcome to 24 News Radio and Television. This is Today in the Dailies. I am Aiba Karina Wari. I have the following newspapers with me. I have the Punch newspaper, I have the Leadership newspaper, I have the New Telegraph, and I have the Daily Trust newspaper. First, the headlines. Military investigation ends. DHQ moves to arraign alleged coup plotters. This is from the Punch newspaper. Another one from the Punch newspaper says presidential panel recommends freeze on 1 trillion naira rice imports. From the Punch newspaper again, it says strike court decides today as FCT workers demand Wike removal. And from the Leadership newspaper, Yusuf's deputy faces tough situation over refusal to defect ex-deputy governor. From the Leadership newspaper again, it says Fabemi gets court nod to review ICPC's fraud charges against Ozekome. And from the Daily Trust newspaper, it says Oshun governor demands release of 130 billion naira LG funds. And finally, from the News Telegraph, we have JAM opens 2026 UTME registration sets the timelines. Now, the news in details. Military investigation ends. DHQ moves to arraign alleged coup plotters. This is from the Punch newspaper. The defense headquarters on Monday said personnel indicated after investigations into alleged misconduct by some military officers, which uncovered claims of a plot to overthrow the government, will be arraigned before an appropriate military judicial panel. Security and military sources familiar with the matter said President Bola Tinubu had expressed confidence in the military to try the indicated officers. This comes amid appeals by a pro-democratic group urging the federal government to consider the health and welfare of officers detained in connection with the matter. In October 2025, the DHQ announced the arrest of 16 officers over acts of indiscipline and breaches of service regulations. Shortly after, Sahara reporters alleged that the officers, ranging from rank of captain to brigadier general, were arrested by the Defense Intelligence Agency for holding secret meetings to topple the government and linked the alleged plot to the cancellation of the October 1 Independence Day parade. Military investigation ends. DHQ moves to arraign alleged coup plotters. This is from the Punch newspaper. So if you're interested in this news, you can get the Punch newspaper for more details. Now from the Punch newspaper again, it says presidential panel recommends freeze on 1 trillion naira rice imports. A federal government-backed agribusiness policy committee has recommended the formal closure of current rice import windows, citing falling food inflation and evidence that the Nigerian rice surplus is being driven largely by high import volumes rather than domestic production capacity. The recommendation comes as Nigerians spent over 1 trillion naira importing about 2.4 million metric tons of rice into the country. Using global benchmark prices published by S&P Global Platts, the scale of Nigerian rice imports in 2025 points to a substantial foreign exchange outflow, though the figures are only indicative estimates and not the actual import cost. At Thailand's assessed price of about $370 per ton for 5% broken white rice, importing 2.4 million metric tons would amount to an estimated $888 million, which converts roughly to about 1.26 trillion naira at the Central Bank of Nigeria and FEM exchange rate of 1,418.95 naira to the dollar as of January 26. Presidential panel recommends freeze on 1 trillion naira rice imports. You can pick up the Punch newspaper for more details. Strike court decides today as FCT workers demand Wike's removal. This is also from the Punch newspaper. The National Industrial Court of Nigeria, Abuja, has fixed today, Tuesday, for ruling on a suit filed by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and the FCT administration against leaders of the Joint Union Action Committee. Justice E.D. Subbilim adjourned the matter after hearing arguments from the counsel for the parties. The claimants had dragged the JUAC chairman, Rif Katu Lotia, and the secretary, Abdullahi Umar Saleh, before the court in suit number NICN ABJ I-17-2026, seeking an interlocutory injunction restraining the defendants and their agents from embarking on any industrial action, picketing, or lockout. The ongoing strike, which began last Monday after the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum, has paralyzed activities across the major FCTA offices in Abuja, including the FCTA Secretariat, where security operatives were deployed to restrict access. Strike court decides today removal. You can pick up the Punch newspaper for more details. From the Leadership newspaper, it says Yusuf's deputy faces tough situation over refusal to defect ex-deputy governor. As Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf formalized his defection to the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) yesterday, his deputy Aminu Abdusalam Gwaso has been thrust into a complex political situation following his refusal to follow his principal to the ruling party at the center. According to the immediate past Deputy Governor of Niger State, Ahmed Mohamed Ketso, Gwaso would have to navigate a precarious political terrain which could culminate in his impeachment. Ketso, in an exclusive interview with the leadership, said that while the governor and his deputy might attempt to manage their relationship maturely, other political actors would likely come between them. Yusuf's deputy faces tough situation over refusal to defect ex-deputy governor. You can pick up the Leadership for more details. From the Leadership newspaper again, it says Fabemi gets court nods to review ICPC's fraud charges against Ozekome. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice (AGF), Prince Lateef Fabemi San, has given the go-ahead by the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) to review the case file against Professor Mike Ozekome San by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Offences-Related Commission (ICPC). The case has been adjourned to February 24. The AGF, who took over prosecution of the case on Monday, said he needed time to thoroughly review the case file and to take a well-informed decision. At Monday's proceedings, the head of the high-profile prosecution department of the ICPC, Dr. Oswebemi Akpomesinga Akpos, announced the appearance of the prosecution. A former AGF and Minister of Justice, Kanu Agabi San, and 15 other senior advocates announced their appearance for the defendants. At this point, the Director of the Public Prosecutions of the Federation, DPPF, Mr. Rotimi Oyedepo San, announced his appearance on behalf of the AGF and informed Justice Peter Kekemeke of the decision of the AGF to take over the case from the ICPC. Fabemi gets court nod to review ICPC's fraud charges against Ozekome. You can pick up the Leadership newspaper for more details. And from the Daily Trust, Osun Governor demands release of 130 billion naira LG funds. The lingering local government crisis in Osun State took a fresh turn on Monday as Governor Ademola Adeleke demanded the immediate release of over 130 billion naira in statutory allocations allegedly withheld from the state's local council. The demand comes nearly a year after the governor swore in elected chairmen and councillors following the February 23, 2025 local government elections, which were won by the People's Democratic Party (PDP). Since then, administration at the grassroots level has remained paralyzed amidst a protracted legal and political battle between the PDP and the APC. The crisis stems from claims by the APC chairman elected in October 2022 under former governor Adegboyega Oyetola, who insists they remain in office despite court rulings nullify their elections. Osun governor demands release of 130 billion naira local government funds. You can pick up the Daily Trust for more details. And if these funds are not released, how do they expect the local government chairmen to actually do their work? I think they should do well to release the funds so that the growth of the economy of the Osun State people can continue to grow well. And lastly, from the New Telegraph, we have JAM opens 2026 UTME registration sets timelines. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAM) has announced the commencement of registration for the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME), assuring candidates that systems have been fully put in place for a smooth and hitch-free registration exercise nationwide. The board urged applicants to register strictly at approved computer-based test (CBT) centers, professional registration outlets, or JAM offices, warning that patronizing unauthorized operators could lead to disqualification or loss of registration details. New Telegraph, this says JAM opens 2026 UTME registration sets timeline. You can pick up the New Telegraph for more details. We'll be ending today with this news. Thank you for joining and sticking with us. We hope to see you tomorrow on this same platform. Bye.
Welcome to 24 News Radio and Television, your trusted companion for real-time updates, expert analysis, and compelling conversations. We bring the world closer to you with clear, credible, and concise information at every moment. With our seasoned reporters and sharp broadcasters, we dig deep to uncover the facts behind the headlines from your neighborhood to the global stage. Stay connected with 24 News Radio and Television for breaking news,